Today we are joining forces to bring a very special car back to life. This is a car that 2 years because of MCO, many of such cars because of MCO never start, never move, and now get stuck.
Yes.
An E24 628i. This was towed from the owner's house from KL. Tana's team took it in. You guys had a look at the car.
Paint plan, no?
Yeah.
We saw some rust marks on the corner. The plan for today is get the car started. Battery, wiring, fuel, plugs. After that, I think it's the rear arms, the rubber stuff we change out. The next step is what we call the engine refurbishing, right? No? Do a full service on the car,
Okay.
gearbox.
So, final phase of it definitely will be a repaint and
Oh my god, it's alive! It's alive! Amazing! 2 years never start. It's alive!
Okay, so today I am here at KL Auto and the mission. Some of you may remember this red color E24. Well, we have brought it here. Now the car has been fully repainted, mechanically done up. Now we are doing some what we call, well, smoothing the edges. And see the front bonnet here, the previous insulation has come off. Okay, so right now the owner wants to put the insulation back, but before we do that we need to scrape off the glue. And when it comes to, of course, sound insulation, noise insulation, whatever insulation lah, okay, you can't go wrong by bringing your car to KL Auto. So this is the original insulation material, and well, so our first approach is that we want to try to stick back the original insulation material to the bonnet. If not, Desmond will put in a substitute material of similar quality. But well, the first order of business really is to scrape off the residual glue from the bonnet. Okay, so we have cleaned off the glue residue from the bonnet. Now we want to put on the insulation. Mana tu? Sana. Alright, so Desmond's team have also scraped off all the residual glue from the original insulation. Okay, it's going to clean all that up, and after this it's going to pasang the insulation. They're going to stick the insulation back to the bonnet. And the job is done. Check it out. Right, Desmond and his team got the insulation nicely in place, so now we're just giving time for the glue to cure and dry. Well, some of you probably remember this car. Well, Tana and I took up the project last year to bring it back to life, and here it is. Now this car runs. So this car had not started for 2 years because of MCO. So what we have done in collaboration between Tana and myself, we got the car repainted, we got the engine, all the mechanical bits serviced. So right now this car is in daily drivable condition, and it has been back with the owner for over 3 months, and now it has come back to us for some little touching up here and there. Okay, so job is almost done, but yeah, we still want to do some final cleaning up process. But well, this car has come a long way since when we first took it in. At that time, the paint was all faded, all gone. Now it's got a fresh coat of paint on top of it. Engine is fully serviced, and the car just runs. It's not very fast by today's standards, but it is a car that can be reliably be driven. The suspension has been all overhauled. All the linkages, bushes and whatnot have been appropriately changed. So the car even handles properly right now. It's a properly fun car to drive, even though it's not particularly fast. So right now what we have done is that this time when the car has come back, earlier I was at KL Auto to get the hood insulation installed. And what's going to happen is that we're sending the car back to Plus Performance. Tana's team, we found that some of the paint work here is not perfect, so we're going to get this redone by the painter. And Yeah, so later on we need to do some minor adjustments. The left door hinge needs to be readjusted. Okay, and we need to do something with the dashboard as well, because yeah, the instrument cluster wiring, the instrument cluster lighting also is not as bright as we would like. But good thing is that the interior of this car has held together very, very well. We've not done any work on the interior, okay, besides cleaning it up, vacuuming, wiping all the panels. Right? This interior was as it was from the owner, so that's testament to the fact that this car over the years has been relatively well cared for. And yeah, after its service, you know, and full mechanical restoration by Plus Performance, now this car just drives beautifully. All right, so this W208 CLK has not been started for how long? 6 months. 6 months, and battery's dead. Battery's dead. It's caught here inside this corner of a condo parking lot. Keys are missing. Owner lost the key. So we've got our friend here from GT1 Smart Keys Sdn Bhd to duplicate a key fob for this car. Okay, so earlier on he actually booked out the whole module, the ignition switch module. He took out the manual key insert here. Okay, brought it back to his shop. Now he's back to reinstall it into the car, reconnect it, and later we will attempt to jumpstart the car. Okay, success! We got the car started. How many months? 6 months never jalan.
More than 1 year.
Yeah, so we got the car started, we got the key duplicated. Now, next stop is sending this car to Plus Performance. Let me just tell you how close this was. Okay, so this Altis belongs to the keysmith. Okay, the boot was initially jammed. We couldn't open the boot to access the battery. So as a result, and the tow truck was already here. So we already got standby the tow truck to come up to 3rd floor to get the car, and finally managed to miraculously unjam the boot. And now the car can be started. After this, we are going to try to reverse the car out on its own power, bring it down to ground floor, and then from there the tow truck can take over and bring it to Tana's team at Plus Performance. So I just want to share with you, if you have cars that needs to be towed out from a basement or a multi-story parking, your only solution is a tow truck like this that lifts one pair of tires up and puts the other pair on what we call these baby tires, okay, to hold the all 4 wheels off the ground. Okay, that way the car can be slowly towed off your multi-story parking or off your basement onto all the tight ramps and whatnot. Yeah, so very, very excited after this to see the next step. Let's see whether the next test really is to see whether the CLK here can be reversed out of the bay on its own power. Put it in. Okay, clear. It's alive! It's alive! The car is moving on its own power. So all the way to the back, then we drive it down to ground floor, and the tow truck will take over from there. Awesome, awesome. Can't wait to bring this car back to life, back to the glory that it once was. Okay, so we got the car to ground floor on its own power, and now it can be safely towed to Plus Performance. Okay, it took the tow truck some time, but we've gotten all 4 wheels off the ground. Now the car is ready to move. Alright, and the car is on its way. Over to you, Tana. So now some of you will probably recall this particular BMW E34 525i that I featured recently on my channel. This is one of the best condition E34s that I have driven. And the story of this car is that, well, the former owner recently departed this world and the car has been passed on to a member of the family. It has not been driven much over the last year or so, but the car has held together extremely well. It still feels healthy on the move, but the new owner has decided that, you know, he wants me to have a look at the car, to refresh it, do whatever mechanical fixes that's necessary to keep the car going reliably. So what we have done with this car is that we have sent the engine for servicing at my regular mechanic site. So we have done an oil change, we have done an inspection of the undercarriage, found some leaks underneath, minor leaking, which, well, because of due to heavy workload, site is only able to address these issues after the Raya break, but we have gotten that covered. Now, the interior of this car is remarkably well preserved. Dashboard is intact, but the seats have taken some wear. So right now, working together with the owner, we are in between two solutions. Either we're going to get a new set of second-hand seats, okay, because we want to preserve the fabric upholstery of the car, or we are just going to patch up the fabric. So I'm working together with Preferred Wheels in Glenmary to come up with a solution for this. Right now, we're still trying to sort of like figure our way through this, okay? The driver door card also needs some restoration. This one will be addressed. But what we have done now is that the roof lining has been changed. The roof liner previously was sagging. Now, after we stick back the roof lining, we found that actually the E34's roof got this stack here one. That was previously invisible when the roof lining was sagging. Okay, another thing that we fixed, this panel here, okay, when it first came, was in pieces. You will recall from my video, this one was in pieces. So now this part here is fixed, right? So what's left for this car is just to address a few leaks, fix the upholstery on this door card, the driver's seat, and give it a thorough cleanup. This car is ready to go back to its owner. Okay, so this is another project that our team is working on. This W210 E-Class has to undergo a full respray, recently acquired by a new owner. And well, let's just say that the previous owner had left this car under sunlight, so the paint has degraded. But upon sanding down, we found that this car was previously repainted before. So yeah, the paint job, the redone paint job was falling apart, and now we are getting it resprayed back properly. Okay, so after that is done, the car will be headed over to Preferred Wheels Glenmary to have bits of the interior redone. And probably we may want to assist the owner with some mechanical servicing. We'll clean up the car and yeah, back to the owner. All right, so coming back to this E24 here, it is, I would say, it is such a triumph to get this car back to its running condition, and I mean running condition. This car now is at a state whereby if somebody challenges me to take this from KL to Penang or JB or Kuantan, I'll do it with absolute confidence. And for that, my hats are off to Tana and his team over at Plus Performance, because honestly, when I first set eyes on this car, it was, well, not in the best of shape. The car had not moved for over 2 years. Paint was faded, cannot be started. So now this car mechanically is fully refreshed and with a fresh coat of paint, and not perfect, but is ready to continue serving the owner again. Well, in fact, it has been serving the owner for the past 3 months as a weekend car. Now it is back with us to complete some touch-up works. So compared to, like, say, the E34 525 that I was showing earlier, can really feel out one thing, that this is an older generation of car. There's more rawness in it, all right? But yeah, but at the same time, this is well, it's not as fast or as responsive as the newer generation of car. The E34, in comparison to this, is a much more athletic feeling car. E39 is more refined, but this guy here, it has a raw feeling to it, and it's also not as fast off the line, despite having a 2.8 liter engine. Granted, not a very powerful one at that, but it's smooth. It lights my face up in a different way. All right, there's just so much sensations, you know, coming through from everywhere. So yeah, it saddens me to see so many of these cars, of this generation of cars, E24s, E28s, E30s, all, you know, lying in dilapidated conditions. Okay, and I can understand why, because for a lot of people, the process of repairing and restoring a car, sometimes the cars get so old, there are so many things to address, right? A long laundry list, you just do not know where to start and where to end. And what I can share with you right now, having helped a few owners get their cars out of cold storage and bring them back to life, I've arrived at, I would say, a system, a step-by-step process that, which if you follow, your chances of getting your car up and running again are better than most. No guarantee, not 100%, but chances are better than most. So there is a systematic way in restoring your car to ensure that, you know, you are able to get the car up and running with the least possible amount of time and resources. Now, I don't mean it's going to be cheap and fast, but what I do mean is that there are ways, there are steps, which if you do it, you don't have to do unnecessary work. You don't have to pay more money that's necessary. You don't have to wait longer than it is necessary. So what are the steps? Now, when it comes to a full car restoration, let's just say that you've got a car right now and you're looking at a long laundry list of stuff, or the car is sitting there, you just don't know what to do with it. Well, here are the steps one by one on how you attack the problem. So the first thing you want to look at would be structural. My advice, honestly, is that if your car needs major structural repairs, you are actually better off not even pursuing the project at all. Okay, unless the car has some sort of sentimental or great monetary value, cars that require a high level of bodywork repair, especially rust, usually is more trouble than they are worth. But if you must proceed, start to check and ensure that the car has no rusting issues. All right, if there is, please don't send it to the cheapest guy to fix it. Send it to somebody who does a proper job of, you know, welding proper sheet metal onto the rusted parts. Because let me just share you a quick tip. If anybody gives you a solution of peppering over the rusted spots with tar, you better walk away, because what's going to happen is that the tar is going to cover over the rust and it will accelerate the rust from within, because the tar will trap moisture underneath and it will make it rust even faster. So avoid shortcutting the bodywork process. Now, after you got the bodywork sorted, next up you want to attack the mechanical bits. You want to ensure that the car is able to run reliably, and that means your engine, your transmission, right? Of course, along the way, brakes, suspension, check it all out. Wiring works as well. Now, wiring usually is the trickiest part of everything because, especially with old cars, right? Sometimes all these cars they will leak current in places where you don't know. And because wiring, the typical wiring of a car, even an old car like this, an E24, can be pretty complex, all right? It's just a whole jumble of wires, and sometimes these wires, they are already degraded, in bad shape, so you do not know. Sometimes you just do not know where the wiring has broken down. So the troubleshooting in this part sometimes can be tricky, and you may actually need to be prepared to, like, you know, invest in a whole half cut of a car of the same model and transplant everything new in. Okay, so, and the thing is that where wiring is concerned, there may be some overlapping, because when it comes to accessing the wiring of their car, you probably need to open up a few things, the interior, for example. And this brings me on to the next phase of your works. If you have interior restoration works to be done, that's the next step after the mechanical bit. So what happens is that maybe, if possible, maybe during the mechanical restoration process, you start to dismantle parts of the interior to be sent for restoration. And you dismantle the interior, send it to your interior guy to reupholster the seats or respray all the panels and whatnot. You see, because the rule of thumb is that you want your process to progress from the dirtiest work first all the way to the less and less dirty ones. So structural, mechanical, and electrical, interior. So now, if you need to repaint your car, then whilst the interior parts are all out of the car, that's when you send your car into the paint shop to have the car repainted. Okay, so then once the repainting is done, that's when you have whatever that you dismantled from the interior reinstalled back into the car. Now, why do we want to do that process? The answer is very simple. During the painting process, there is a chance that the painters may dirty or damage your interior. That may be trickier to clean versus the interior guys accidentally damaging or dirtying your paint. All right, so after painting, interior reinstallation. And then after that, that is when you want to look at, maybe you want to do fancy lights, or you want to do change wheels, tires, and whatnot. That comes at the end together with whatever accessories. But of course, if you have things like fancy body kits, then you want to do it together with the painting process. Okay, so now if you have a long laundry list of things to do in your car, that is the order which I suggest that you tackle the process. But of course, I recognize that every car out there is different, needs different requirements. Some may not require repainting, some may not require interior work. So different cars, you may have to adjust the process differently. Now, the thing is, I do know that this is a very lengthy, very time-consuming process. Even if you have the funds ready for it, right? A lot of us don't have the time to go from workshop to workshop to workshop, to hunt for workshops, get quotes and all that. I know this because I've helped a few of my customers to arrange their cars, and that, quite frankly, is a satisfying but challenging undertaking. I want to help more people, right? But the challenge that I realize now is I only have the mental bandwidth to do so many cars at one time. Okay, even though I sincerely want to help as many people as I can. So right now I've derived a process whereby I can serve, as many of you as I can. Of course, not all at once. I can only take a few at one go. But if you require more personalized help from me to set you on the path of restoring your car, I've included a link to a Google form in the description section where you can fill up the details of your car, what needs to be done, and then after that you and I can get on a call where I can advise you on what are the things, how you should proceed with the whole process. And of course, if you need even more specific, even more detailed help, I can always come over, make a house call, evaluate and assess your car in person, draw up a blueprint for you, step 1, step 2, A to Z, who are the vendors you want to work with, and then you can go off and follow the process. You don't have to hunt blindly. You don't have to make 10,000 phone calls, search in Google, search in forums. I lay out the map, you just follow the direction. And of course, if you really do need our team to handle it for you, that can also be done, but we can only handle a small number of cars at any one time. In fact, even for my personalized house call, I think I can only probably do 1 or 2 visits at most. But the thing is, every time when I see a car stranded, in the parking lot lah, in a condo lah and whatnot, it hurts the car guy in me a bit, and I sincerely want to help get all these cars back on the road again. So if you need any guidance, if you need any advice on how, right, to get your car, moving again, or you want to get your car to another level, right, fill in the Google form in the description section, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Okay, take care.